What are your impressions of Baker Mayfield, and also how different is Oklahoma's offense under Lincoln Riley?
Well, Baker, first of all, quick release. He can spit the ball out there exceptionally fast. He can deal it out there, quick release, sprints to the football to get the offense lined up. I can tell that he plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, strong arm, and he's comfortable. I think he's running an offense that fits his skill set, and he has a lot of weapons around him with a very big, imposing offensive line. In terms of their offense with Lincoln Riley, they have good balance in terms of formations. They can run the football. They do the gamut of screens, pushing the ball down the field, throw game, and they couple that with an up-tempo package, which is very, very hard to prepare for.
Wes, then Jimmy, then Dustin.
Which, how did you evaluate Colton Jumper and Darren Kirkland kind of, I guess, individually in that game, and what's the situation there moving forward?
Situation's the same. I thought Colton did a very, very good job of lining us up. Communication-wise, getting us in the right defenses. There's one play we would love to have back, and that's the 4th and 3 play, obviously. But I thought for the first game, and Colton be on the field for the first game, I thought he did a very good job. Now, obviously, we need to continue to improve and grow there with anything and everything. But for the first game, I thought he handled himself very well. Darren Kirkland, same thing. True freshman, again, no baseline. Every snap is a new learning experience for him. And what it showed is he has the ability to be a very, very good football player. Very explosive, can run. Now it's just the mental part of the game and getting lined up and communicated, which every true freshman goes through. But I was very encouraged by both of those, their play on Saturday.
Jimmy, Dustin.
But there was a Bowling Green defensive lineman that lost his shoe, and then he just kind of fell down on the field to stop the action. Did you talk to the officials about that situation and what should have occurred?
That kind of looked like me the other day trying to go for a walk and being out of shape. But you know, we met with the officials in preseason like we always do, and you know, when it's equipment, they have to get off the field. Obviously, it's a fine line that puts the officials in a challenging situation with protecting the student athletes out in the field and injuries. So, you know, they're kind of in a rock and a hard spot, so to speak, and I appreciate the job that they do. But you know, he stopped the clock just because they were concerned it could be an injury, which, you know, I agree with that.
Steve, and then 2 more.
Just wanted to go back to a little bit what you said about the defense and clarify a little bit. Is mostly what you saw, did the defense or the secondary basically do what it was supposed to do, and just because they spread you out so much just end up in a lot of man-to-man situations? Was that kind of the explanation there?
Yeah, there was some. You know, we didn't do a very good job. Individuals did a very good job from a communicative standpoint, but I thought as a defense in general, we did not do a very good job of communicating. And we had too many mental errors. And to play winning football, you can't have the amount of mental errors that we had. Again, first game, going fast, a lot of things happening, but that's inexcusable, and we understand that as coaches. That's on us. We understand it as our players understand it as well, and it's everyone taking accountable to fix it and correct it, and we'll get it corrected. But we just had way too many mental errors. I thought we didn't tackle particularly well in space. We didn't leverage the football very well in space, and those are all things that you worry about going into a first game. These are issues that a lot of teams around the country are having with first games, and you don't tackle as much anymore in practice, you know, so you're always wondering how you're going to have live blocking and tackling for 60 minutes, and that's what we spoke about a week ago, is it's 60 minutes. It was a combination, and it's everyone understanding their job and their job description in doing their job. And I thought at times we panicked a little bit. Instead of just doing your job, we had some individuals try to do 2 or 3 people's jobs, and that's when you get into trouble. And, you know, when you play collectively as a group and collectively as a unit, and you play team offense, team defense, team special teams, it's all based on the fact that you just do your job. Do your job, and you have all 11, 1 out of 11 doing their job, and you'll execute. And a lot of times for younger players or players that don't have a lot of experience, we talk about see a little, see a lot. And we had some players seeing a lot. And that's all the learning curve. That's all growth. And that's all positive because you learn from your mistakes.
Steve, Trent, and Seth for the last one.
Obviously, you had the 200-yard rushers over the weekend, and really around the conference, lots of great running back performances. Do you sense this is kind of what you're going to be seeing this season? Is it a particularly good year for running backs in the conference, and how do you think that might kind of shape the race as the season goes on?
Well, there's a lot of talented running backs in our conference from team to team, and obviously we're playing a team Saturday that not only has 2, they have 3, and then a very good quarterback who can run the ball, can run option, can run draws, can run zone read, and understands the offense and has really been brought up in that offense. So, but I think, on our schedule, that's one of the challenges. It's hard to play great defense. It's hard to play defense in today's world with run-pass options and, the linemen being able to be 2 to 3 yards down the field and your reads and not being able to play sub-defenses and a lot of things that go into it. It makes it that much more challenging.
But you said after the game you were pleased with the offensive tempo. Both Jalen and Josh said they play faster in practice. Realistically, how much faster can you go, and how much of an aid is that for your offense moving forward?
Well, it is an aid because just like we talked about all the problems that we have on defense with up-tempo offenses, we can create the same issues for our opponent. We would like to get faster, but we also have to manage the game as well. And sometimes the best defense is playing to your defense. It's protecting your defense, and that's where I thought Coach DeBoard and our entire offensive staff and our players did a good job with that. And it's all about the team. It's not one side of the ball. It's all about whatever it takes to win the football game, and that's why we don't have a lot of goals on offense or defense. We have the big 3. We have the things that we have to accomplish, but at the end of the game, it's winning as a team. But we would like to play faster, but I think the nuances of the game with spotting the ball and different things that go into it, but we always want to make practice faster than the live game situations.
Last one with Seth.
Were you surprised at all by the complete lack of production statistically from Marquez North?
It's one of those games that kind of the flavor of it. We have to get the ball in the hands of Marquez. Marquez is one of our playmakers. He's worked very hard. But it was just one of those games where, we had a rhythm going. We were running the football. We wanted to stay to it. We needed to protect our defense a little bit, playing an up-tempo offense like theirs. So it was kind of, the storyline of the game. Now, this week could be different. The following week could be different. And, Marquez is a team player. He wants the team to win, but we have to get him the football and kind of manufacture some touches for him and moving forward, along with some of our other playmakers as well. But Marquez will get his time, and he understands that, and, he just wants to win, which is great, but we'll have some plays designed for him.
Head coach Butch Jones of the Tennessee Volunteers previewing this week's game against Oklahoma and looking back on last week's win here in Nashville at Nissan Stadium against Bowling Green. That was our American Hotel Liquidators post-game report. Hope you enjoyed it. Huge game coming up for the Vols as, again, they host Oklahoma at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Certainly a statement game, if you will, for the Vols. You may recall Tennessee went down to Oklahoma last year and hung tough with the Sooners for about 3.5 quarters. So this might be the year that they exact their revenge over last year's loss. So you can touch on that if you like. 737-7767. What does this game mean, Big Orange fans? Obviously, there's a full SEC schedule left to play. It's a non-conference game, so in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter a whole lot, but it would certainly give the Vols a steamroller's amount of confidence heading into their SEC schedule. So certainly a big game coming up for the Vols on Saturday. All right, we go from one Tennessee coach on the college side to the Tennessee professional head coach. What a crazy weekend it was for Ken Wisenhunt and Titans GM Rustin Webster, making final cuts, trying to finalize that 53-man roster. Here's Coach Wiz from a couple days ago.
Well, as you know, I'm sure, we traded Andy to Atlanta. We felt like it was an opportunity for both clubs and the player. It was a good situation, and I really appreciate the time that Andy has put in here. I think one of the things I respect the most about Andy is he's a good football player, but he's also very good in the community, and that's something that I think is really important. So I'm happy for Andy because he gets an opportunity to go down and play and potentially start in Atlanta, and it was something that was certainly good for us. So, we're ready to move on.
Did you assume a piece of that salary going forward?
You'd have to ask the cap guys for that, Paul. I'm just worried about trying to get the best players.
Is your offensive line now set?
Pretty much, yeah. It's set.
What's the confidence like in Patasi? I mean, you gave him some extra playing time last night. He's got 3 starts. What does he bring to you there that helps at the right tackle?
Well, you asked me two questions there. What's my confidence in him? I guess as much confidence as you can have in a rookie, in a young player. He is going to go against some pretty good pass rushers, some pretty good players now as opposed to preseason football, so the adjustment's going to be big for him. But what I like about him is he's athletic. He's worked very hard. I think he's gotten better over the 3 games that he's played, and we know that there's going to be times where he's going to struggle a little bit, and we'll try to do some things to help him.
How about Bill? How did you grade him out of his opportunity over the last couple of weeks? Why do you think you're better there?
Well, he's gotten better, and Byron's bigger in there, and he's done a nice job. So we felt good about that move.
How does Gallic played in his chances as a guard? What's the likelihood you could count on him as an interior backup as opposed to just strictly a center backup, particularly in the game?
Well, I think that's been one of the more pleasant surprises of camp is his ascension as a guard. He's done a lot better job with that. And in fact, last night he gave up 1 sack, and he was really upset about that. But he's actually improved, and it's nice to see a young player, especially one that you drafted, do that. And that's probably one of the reasons why we felt like we were able to go in this direction, was because we've got a guy that now can play the center and the guard.
Some of the cuts you've got, you still have, I think, 12, if my math is right. How tough is it going to be there with the tight ends, the production you've gotten out of Kaufman, Supernova, and making those choices?
Well, I mean, we've got 12 cuts to make. They're going to be tough, not respective of whether it's the tight ends or not. It's tough. This is a tough, outside of losing a game, this is the toughest thing about this job, going through that. And having to do that today with the 9 players we did was difficult. So the tight end group specifically, it's going to be a tough position to decide. Those guys are usually at that position. You'll have some injuries. You'll have a number of different guys that have played. We didn't have that this year, and all of these guys have played well. So I've said before, it's a tough position to find, and certainly we feel very good about where it is right now, and it's going to all fit into the whole roster puzzle that we're trying to work through right now.
You still have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Is there anything that we should read into that you didn't already cut down to 3 like normal?
I don't know. What do you think? What should we read into that? I don't know.
I'm just asking.
I don't have anything for you that we should read into it or not. Like I said, we're trying to put together the roster, and we're working through a lot of different decisions.
What do you feel with the preseason over and as you start to get ready for the opener? What's the identity of this team?
Well, I mean, I think.
What is it and what do you want it to be?
Paul, I can't really sit here and tell you that because we don't know what it's going to be. We haven't played a regular season game yet. If we could take anything out of preseason, I would say our ability to force turnovers on defense and score off of those offensively is something that if we could carry into the regular season, it would do us great benefit. We're going to find out what that identity is as we play games, and that's what's important.
How did Bleedy do first time back out?
I thought he did well. he looked confident. He made plays on the ball, and he certainly is something that we needed at that position. It was good to see him play that way.
What's just the process like leading up to the final cuts? Like, you guys are pulling all-nighter or what? Like,
pretty much, yeah. It's pretty tough. We were there late last night just talking about the roster and where we wanted to go, and then we slept on it for a couple hours, and back in here this morning just trying to work through some things. We obviously knew ahead of time yesterday that potentially that could happen with Andy, and that was part of it. So a lot of things going on. It's a tough time, but it's what you have to do.
You kind of touched on your tight end situation there. Can you say where your toughest decision will come here in the next 24 hours, or is that something you need to protect?
No, like I said, I guess we can talk about it when we get to the 53. Right now there's still a lot left to go on.
Running backs, Antonio Andrews got the chance a little early last night. Where are you at in that group? Is the guy who's going to be your starter kind of asserted himself, or might you be giving lots of opportunities to see who steps up?
Well, I still think we're excited about the guys at that position. They're going to be different ones. I've said all along there's going to be different packages for different guys because it tries to play to their strong suits. So that's going to be part of it. Depends on what our plans involve with Tampa and how that goes. There's going to be some weeks, I think, where maybe somebody will get more carries than another. I just asked this question in camp, and the idea of the bell cow getting all the carries, you just don't see that as much anymore.
You held Orakpo and Morgan out, and you got to look at a lot of your other young linebackers like Mount, Massaquoi, Staples got some time. How did any of those guys stand out last night?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see those guys. I mean, that's going to help impact our decision as far as that group goes. We felt like just for the standpoint of not being as deep at the outside position with Orakpo and Morgan, it was smart to hold them out. Plus, it gave a chance for Massaquoi and Mount to play, plus some guys behind them. So we got some good tape on them, and I think that that was good. Some of those guys did good for themselves.
Save